everyone, and welcome to PCC NA Prelims Day 2, where we look to crown the successor of predecessor glory. I'm D-Lo, your host for Losers Round 6, and joined here with me is Lance with HDPhillyB. We got choice plays of the man behind the curtain as always, and we hope you're looking forward to the set we got cooking for you here today. Our friends on Primal up against Immune Lads. How we feeling?
I feel pretty excited for this. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on the last set that we saw. There's a lot of pressure on this one as well, since we are in loser's bracket. Whoever does not make it through this series does not get a spot in the July 12th main event.
Yeah, a lot on the line for both of these teams. Deal, I hope you're ready for some double trouble on the desk with me and Lance. But I hope viewers at home, you're ready for a very wonderful game of two conflicting styles between an EU team and an NA team.
Yes.
It's going to be one to watch.
It's a spooky one as well, like you guys said. High stakes, high pressure. And Lance, you alluded to earlier on a different desk for a different set, but they're used to this pressure. However, do you really, in the first Omega official event, want to see yourselves going out sad that early? Absolutely not. No one wants their bracket run to end here today, but that is the situation we both find ourselves looking at here. Looking at this matchup just on paper, what's the main thread we're following? How did these two juggernauts even get down here in the losers in the first place?
Well, you find yourself in the loser's bracket because of the quality of competition that we are experiencing. You got to run into a buzzsaw like what we've seen in that last one. You got to go up against Mach 10. You got to go up against Flow State. You got to go up against Mythic. That's how you get to the pinnacle of predecessor. So, you know, the day is not over for these guys until the end of this series, and you got to focus on the task ahead of you. Yeah, you're in the loser's bracket, but you still have a chance to win all of the money, to claw your way back up to that peak.
Absolutely. And just for the folks at home, if you haven't followed our bracket, like Primal did lose 2-0 against Flow State. So they had to clash at some point in the bracket, which sent them down to the lower rounds. We know just how in the zone Flow State has been throughout this entire tournament. But that doesn't mean that Primal is out of this by any means. They are a fantastic squad. They play through their mid laner Seismic. He's the shot caller. He's the one that's going to be dictating the tempo for that squad.
And I'm going to talk to Seismic a bit as a desk mate as well as just as a player in his mentality, and I'm sure that he's feeling confident alongside the rest of the Primal posse to hopefully take this one down, but I'm sure Immune are feeling immune to the chances of losing this one. We'll find out as we hippity-hop right quick into that draft. Now, guys, we've all been seeing a lot of predecessor here today. Take a quick look at the landscape, the scene, the ecosystem. What's been the common pattern that we should maybe be expecting or maybe even fearing?
So we've seen a lot of priority in our first two sets of the day on like the Revenant Sparrow matchup. I think that may shift a little bit in this draft. Neft can play anything on the side of Team Immune, the most accomplished ADC in predecessor history. He is our faker, but Primal, more so known to play through their mid laner, to play through Seismic. We see the Seraph being taken off early by Team Immune. No surprise there with how oppressive that hero can be when she gets the Ashbringer online.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's definitely protecting Seismic a little bit too, because if you are playing a Bellico or Iggy or Gadget in the mid lane, right, then you can just jump on her real quick, right, with the Seraph. So on the other side, the Greystone being banned out, that's a little peculiar for me because I feel like the Greystone has been kind of figured out via the Countess.
He's got a sword.
So an interesting use of the ban there.
Gonna see the Fang Mount come out. Yeah. He does have it. You gotta watch out for that, man. Scary stuff. The bladed ones are clearly getting picked out here. Lance, don't rub your head, man. It's clearly the way we're going about it here with these bans. Fang Mao gonna be strucken off the map as well. Has not really had a chance to see his day. Revenant, you mentioned that we're trying to stray away from that, Lance. Seems, though, that Primal are sticking to keeping that one off the field.
Yeah, but he's got a gun, so you gotta ban it, right? The power that we've seen Revenant... the power that we've seen Revenant have in these early games really only being countered by that Sparrow. Nobody wants to let Neft take. Yeah, he's gonna hit his fourth shot, 100% guaranteed. I'd bet my mortgage on the fact that Neft lands that fourth shot. You don't want to have to deal with that. So we get into this first thing. I'm curious to see what Immune is going to prioritize here. It will be that steal, similar to what we were seeing out of Mach 10 in the last draft.
Yeah, it's a hidden pick, right? It can go support, it can go offlane, it can go jungle. So it's really flexible. They're not necessarily prioritizing in the draft. A lot of times players and on teams say, okay, you got to prioritize me first because XYZ reason. But I think all these players are so comfortable on any character that they can go with such a flexible pick because Penguin and the like can play Steel. On the other side, we're having Morn and Countess picked up.
I mean, sustain, mobility. We saw just many times that Countess was able to slip, evade her way out of what seemed to be a tight scrape where she should be dead to rights. Unfortunately, just not going to be the case because having all of that natural in-kit ability to get yourself back up to full is naturally something really solid. Now, we talked about the fact that Steel, that's a bit more of keeping that ace a bit close to your chest, not really revealing your cards. Do Countess and Morn play the same game, or are we kind of going outright here with a brass hammer to the gut?
The Countess a tiny bit, even though we've primarily been seeing her in the offlane, but that Morn, you can pencil it in. I would be shocked if that does not end up in that support role into Zihi's hands. And we have more picks coming through for Immune, gonna pick the monkey up for themselves. That to me indicates that Conte is playing for them, and the Sparrow for Nept. A lot of damage in the second rotation of picks for Team Immune.
Yeah, Conte, a very aggressive jungler, wants to just run through everybody. So you want to facilitate him with that. So you're not going to put him on a Richter or anything like that. It's going to be a Wukong, a Sereth, a Zarya, something that's can really kind of carry your team for you. Not that you need it because you have Neft on the other side. I like Morn, just to harken back on that, because he likes to get active. He likes to rotate on the map. So he might go for Spider Morn Augment, be able to jump in, Mezbomb people, and really facilitate his team. Sneaks, though, for the Countess, maybe not now that I'm seeing the Quang. Definitely Sneaks is a Quang aficionado. I think that's where they're locking it in for the offlane.
Okay, so we're starting to reveal our hand at this point. Back half of the draft, going to be the Gadget banned away as well. Sorry, Lance, I know you're a fan. But nonetheless, that's going to be taken off here. And I like the fact that we're taking that Sparrow, too, out of the hands of Primal and putting it behind Neft. I mean, the fact that you ban away the Revenant, you know what makes the Sparrow's job a bit easier? You want to try to make sure you're catering to your prime peak players. The Twin Blast banned away. We want to make sure we give Neft that best matchup.
Yeah, and they're targeting Naps here on the side of Primal. A lot of ADCs taken away. He's going to have to go down to his fourth option here. Kira still is available. I'd be kind of surprised to not see him go that route. Potentially the Skylar as well. But I really like this Quang pick for Sneaks. That is one of his comfort heroes, something he has played very well for in the past, and it's going to be the Murdoch, the long arm of the law on Naps we see.
Wow, I feel like we haven't seen the Murdoch in so long. I mean, they've been kind of nerfed and changed a little bit. The augments, they're okay for him. Usually people pick up the passive one that gives him a little extra range on his passive, a little extra damage, etc. But it's anything that's game-changing like we see from some of the other carries. Definitely an interesting choice, but yeah, Nap's very comfortable. I play with him in a different league, so it's definitely a lot of fun there. I'm curious to see how Team Immune responds now. They're still looking for their mid laner.
It's interesting because it's worth noting the fact that with augments being such a new addition, yes, I think the dust is starting to finally settle, but we do still have room for experimentation. Not going to be experimenting, though, in terms of your tried and true mid. It's going to be Iggy and the Scorch, the Terra to back things up. It seems that Immune have finished off their comp.
And I really like that Iggy into the Countess being drafted for Primal. Very hard for the Countess to kind of get into the range, as it's starting to look like that's going to be Countess in the jungle for Mav on the side of Team Primal. So tough to gank this mid lane here, and we see Primal, of course, leaving their last pick up for Seismic in the mid lane here. Has a couple of options available. I'd be surprised if it's not maybe the Gideon, yeah, as it comes in, that we see locked in for him here. So a good answer to the Iggy.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I like the mid lane matchup, but it's about the team fight capability. A lot of like single target abilities coming out from Primal, and then they put the Giddy on top just to say, like, we've got something. If we jump into the pit, we can contest and make people panic for just a second. But I mean, the zone control, the area control coming out from the side of Team Immune, it's going to be very, very difficult for the Countess to make their way into the backline like you stated, Lance.
Well, lads, I see 5 picks on each side, 10 amazing players duking it out for their last chance to make it through the bracket. For your money, Lance, Philly, who takes it and why?
Hey, I was born in the USA, and there's no way I'm picking against the NA team in PCC preliminary North American stage. Team Immune will have their time to shine next week on their own ping. I am sticking with Primal.
Actually, I was born in Italy, so I gotta go for the Team Immune squad on this one. Come on, the Euro boys, do it for me.
All right, Allies versus Axis. We'll find out who's going to be able to take it as we pit it on over to our friends Spooky and Tang. Take it away.
Thank you so much, D'Lo and the desk. Go ahead and get this one broken down for us. Back to the desk.
Thank you very much there, Spooky and Tang. Sorry to say, Tang, but it seems like staffs just don't slam the same way. All about those swords. Those things need to be nerfed. It's D'Lo back with Lance and Philly. We just watched as Immune clearly have got to step up their game. Our friends on Primal just had an amazing battle cry to start things off. We saw some speed bumps, but they took it home, guys. What did we just see on the field?
Honestly, I'm once again, I hate to be this guy, but I'm highlighting the supports again. Ezehi on that Morn was making ginormous plays. Penguin with a couple really big Riftwalker shield slams as well, just kind of in positions where Neft wasn't able to follow it up for this. But my hat is off to Naps, putting Team Immune to sleep. Was catching a little bit of slander in the chat earlier about being a replacement, but at the end of the day, he is definitely going to be main roster for this next event if Primal doesn't keep him.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I've said, I've played with him before. He's a very quality player, fun guy to be around. I'm sad that my EU boys couldn't get it done. It was ManQ, though, on the Iggy. It was just they were outpaced to every objective. He couldn't set down the 4 turrets. I don't even think, as we were watching, friends, we saw 4 turrets get placed down at any time. And if they were, I think Naps was just cleaning them up quickly. So I think the composition, what they were trying to do, they just couldn't get it executed. And then their composition fell apart. Ultimately, lost the match.
There was a story of 2 carries when you really look at it, right? There's triple kill upon triple kill. I can't even count how many I saw between the 2 teams, but you started off with that amazing 3-kill streak that really put us in a great position if you're a Primal fan, then answered quickly back by Neft and the rest of their gang. But then it just became a back and forth, an absolute slaughter around those objectives. If you are now on the side of Immune and you're looking for some words of advice, maybe some tips and tricks to try to get this set back to even before you're booted out of the entire bracket, because keep in mind, this is what decides if they can move on at all from one of those top 4 spots. What do you think that advice has got to be? How can they buck up, get back in there?
I think that with the strength of Team Immune being Neft, you have to get him onto something that can survive some dive. Maybe something like a Cura that's got a dash, something like the Drongo who can use the shrapnel cannon to blast himself away. But it was a story of Mav just needing to push R on top of the Sparrow to get her out of those team fights. Naps, although he was down to his 4th option for ADC, just really performed very well, and I think a lot of that has to come with some of the mobility and some of the slipperiness that Murdoch does have.
Yeah, both of these carries positioned themselves fairly well throughout these contests, which is why they were able to get those triple kills time and time again. It's about that positioning, so because you're not in the line of sight. But I agree with Lance. I mean, Neft is such a technically skilled player. You want to put him on somebody that can shine a little bit more, where, yes, you want to facilitate him, but you don't want to have to put all your eggs in that basket where you have to protect one kind of strategy and hope he can deadlift the entire squad. You want him to be able to facilitate himself in some of these engagements as well. So that's like I said, I don't really like the Sparrow. I know she's kind of in the meta right now. People are playing her, but I'd love to see the Skylar back. I can't believe I'm saying that, but Skylar back. Even the Grim. Grim's been pumping big damage as well. So I would like to see a different carry come out for the Neft.
Yeah, man. I mean, we saw the Sparrow start to fly high all of a sudden. Get the long arm of the law out. Pull! Shot that sucker down. All of a sudden, it's looking like Penguin. Flightless Bird goes sailing right back down to the bottom. Can that story change? Can we see our friends on the EU side and maybe try to reverse history a little bit, you know? NA storming the beaches. This is D-Day at this point. Can they hold their ground? Or will we see maybe a change in the story and they'll pull right back? We'll find out shortly. Don't you dare go anywhere. More PCC action after the break. Hello, everyone, and welcome on back to PCC NA Prelims Day 2 Losers Round 6 Game 2, where we look to crown the successor of predecessor glory. Match point here could be all we get to see of one of our premier players, Neft and the rest of the French fellows trying to take down the blitzkrieg that is NA Primal with their prime plays. It's D'Lo, it's Lance, it's PhillyB. How we feeling?
I am super excited. First game went exactly like I had anticipated, exactly like I thought the entire game. I never had any doubt in Primal.
The first game did not go how I wanted it to, unfortunately, for the EU
Sorry.
boys. But they're a veteran squad. These are some of the most decorated players in the scene, and I know they can bounce back. I know they've talked about what their strategy is moving forward, and I'm excited to see what they do in this draft for Game 2.
Well, we'll be finding out shortly as we hippity hop into it right now. We talked a little bit during the green room, not even just on the desk, as far as some interesting counterplay here that's potentially going to be seen so far. Carries is really what's scary. You have Neft, you have Naps, who's clearly proven that they are a threat to behold as well. I'm curious to see if we get a bit more targeting, given that we already saw so much, and it still didn't even work from our friends on Immune. But no, we're sticking by the same tried and true 7th ban to start.
Can't give that over to Mav. A lot of agency on that hero. Very hard to lock down, very hard to kill once the team fight has popped up. Now has that micro stun as she lands in the Ascend, and then with that Ashbringer can just stay in queue forever. Very, very, very difficult to lock down. Primal doesn't want to give that first pick Morin over to Penguin either, so I like that target early.
Yeah, I like that target early, but you also take it away from Zihi. We saw how efficient they were in game number 2. They were swinging all over the map, just getting in the face of the opposition, being a front line, healing everybody. I mean, they do the subtle things, the Morn, and I think that's what I like about him the best. Another jungler here, though, my friend, taken off the board. It's the Fang Mao. Won't get to see Sanctuary today.
This is interesting. We're seeing the exact same strategy come out here from you, which says on their part, we know we messed up, we know we made some mistakes. It's not because of the competition necessarily, or at least not because of the bans. It's because of execution, which is very much the hallmark of a very confident team, and respect to them. They have a lot of veteran players with quite a lot of experience beneath their belt. Seeing a return here with the Gadget ban as well, so overall, not too much changing here. The landscape remaining relatively stagnant.
And that is a educated Gadget ban there. Immune probably looking to get ManQ off of Iggy. His next most comfortable hero is this Gadget. So if they pick up the Gideon in like this early rotation here from Primal, they don't have that counter with the Gadget available and that comfort pick for ManQ either. I really like that ban from Primal.
And there it is, another steal opener. Could go for Penguin again, probably so. It's hard to counter that steal, just so solid, no pun intended. We saw the blink into Rifties into the shield slam and bulldozer right after. I mean, this guy can do it all, as well as the steel wall protecting the carry. So if they go for the Sparrow again, it's great. I think this one going right for Penguin.
Nah, no surprise there. It wasn't part of the problem issues, which was that Iggy. So the question then becomes, of course, we're looking towards our backline. We're looking at our mids. We're looking at our carries. Don't need to worry about the offlaner, though, in terms of what we're bringing from Primal. It's going to be the Quang top lock to return back.
It will be the Quang. I'm a little curious to see if that sticks because of the position that it is in. And the Howitzer going to be picked up. Oh, actually, JK Lamau. It is Iggy and Scorch. So the little gremlin riding the dragon picked up in probably going into the hands of Seismic here.
Yeah, I would assume so. Unless we're doing Iggy off lane, which at this level gets punished pretty hard. So I don't think we'll see that. But there it is. Yeah, Quang, it'll be on Sneaks once again. They were so good in that, just disrupting every team fight, jumping in, knocking everybody up, Fury of the Heavens slicing through the crowd. I mean, the thunder was clapping from this guy. And then I think Seismic, he's going to say, let me show you how it's done. He's going to hit these mollies. He's going to show how those 4 turrets are really going to control some space here in game number 2.
And I love this pick because if you start to get a few kills in the pocket of Seismic, it's a tilting factor. The fact that you could say that anything you could do, I can do better. It's going to be the complete Freaky Friday on a Sunday. Gideon picked up here for Immune. Sparrow, we're sticking to the classics.
And I do really like this for Team Immune. I am interested to see, and what I will be watching in this game is how much agency Seismic is able to have on this Iggy and Scorch. It felt like ManQ was very limited into that Gideon in that last game. I don't necessarily anticipate that to go the same way, just with Seismic being the person piloting the Iggy this time. The Sparrow taken away early onto Neft means that they still believe in that damage that Neft will be able to provide with that inner fire, with all of that percentage max health damage from the Sparrow that can come out. And the Greystone going to be picked up
big sword,
very likely onto Mav, as they're one of the teams we've primarily seen take that Greystone into the jungle while most people put him in the off lane.
Interesting here that they didn't go for the Revenant before the next cycle of bans, right?
True.
Because that What? That's Grux? We haven't seen Grux all tournament weekend. That's wild.
That is a respect ban. I have to cut in really quick. That is for Morose. That is his most played hero. He is known for it. He's done the cosplay and everything. Sorry.
No, that's very true. Moreau's very proficient on that character. But like we were saying, I mean, you go through the next round of bans, Team Immune, they could go for the Revenant here, but maybe they go for the Murdoch. Maybe they saw how good Naps was on it. No, there it is. The Revenant, tried and true. Make it easy for yourself. He's out.
So we're just once again trying to limit naps in terms of what they have in their knapsack, but that bag runs deep. Clearly this player is very capable on a wide variety of picks, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Murdoch make a return, but it really is all going to come down to, in my opinion, what that carry is able to bring. If it's able to be as scary as last time. The Twin Blast was banned prior, now available, going to be grabbed up by Primal.
We talked about having mobility in your carry. Lots of dashes here on the side of Twin Blast, especially if you go that Pacifier or you go the Tempest route to be able to get even a shorter dash cooldown while sacrificing a little bit of the power. But Twin Blast really been coming back into the meta and into the foreground with this change, with those augments, with the Grenadier, not Grenadier. I'm training myself to say it that way on that. I'm interested to see how Immune rounds the comp out.
Yeah. They're going for the Richter, which could be the jungle. We've seen Richter jungle, which I'm personally not a fan of because of the feast or famine of it, but it could be Richter off lane now, and then the Zarus in the jungle. I mean, Richter, the 3 augments kind of facilitate him in each of the roles, whether it's off lane, whether it's jungle, whether it's support. So I think they could definitely go this way, but how does Richter kind of stack up against a Kwang in the off lane? I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
The Zarus, I'm sure about, is going to be really interesting. You're taking it away in terms of not being able to grab that for Primal side. And Lance, you were specifically mentioning during the game last time in the green room, we were talking about how a Zarus can be really useful at locking down these carries. And in a game where the carries are going to be that prime focus, you want to have that nice little gladiator coliseum to battle in and scrap in instead. Decker is going to say, I'll stun you outright. I brought my own cage to play. Let's see who's got it better.
And I like this last rotation out of Immune. I actually really like the Richter in the off lane into the Kwang. If he gets in, you can... the tether makes it a little bit rough, but you silence him as soon as he's out of the tether. He's not able to get the full combo out. So if he ults in, he doesn't have the dash to get out. If he dashes in, then he doesn't have the ability to use that Fury of the Heavens right away. I would highly suspect that that is either Richter or Steel in the off lane here. I don't know how I feel about the ping Richter, because they are all EU, but I do think that I lean towards liking this comp of Immune, especially the mid lane matchup.
Yeah, it could be good. I'm thinking it's going to be kind of like a... They've got 2 opportunities to engage, right? You can either dive in, if you go for the Zarus, you go for the Coliseum onto Shield Slam, you can follow it up with the Black Hole, or you could wait for the pick, right? They kind of position themselves outside of the different objective pits. Like Lance, you were talking about, a lot of times what EU teams do is they'll start it, and then they'll back off if they think it's 50-50, then they'll re-engage. And I think with the Richter, the miscommunication can happen. You can fish somebody out, then lock them down with the rest of the abilities, and then you're in a man-up advantage. So I like the different ways the Team Immune has set themselves up for success here.
Well, guys, once again, we find ourselves with 10 heroes, 10 amazing players, potentially the last we will get to see of our EU Envoys period. So we'll give you a little deal of special. Guys, 5 words or less. Who wins? Why?
Neft is the best player.
Can he just eat my 5 words? No, Richter, hooks, clutch, the win.
We'll find out if the alphabet soup is going to be in favor of our friends on Immune, or will they be booted right back on out to the bench just to watch Primal steal it away? We'll take it on over to our friends Spooky and Tang. But our EU overlords still are trying to reign supreme as they are able to take that game 2 in flamboyant fashion. D-Lo Lance, PCCNA here at the desk, guys. What do we just see?
I mean, my takeaway is the mid lane matchup. You've seen the Iggy into the Gideon. The Gideon has won both sides of it in every match that we've had in this series. I need to see Seismic on a hero with more agency.
Yeah, I agree that Iggy just didn't do enough. And Lance, we were talking about in the green room, we don't even think he went with the 4 turret augment, and so he couldn't really control those objective pits as well as maybe he should have or could have. So yeah, the Iggy, I don't even think people could even stop banning it. It seems like it just didn't work. You really have to build your composition around it. I mean, we haven't seen Narbash at all yet. Maybe you go for the slow burn comp if you do decide to play the Iggy. I think that mid just needs to be figured out from the side of Seismic. Put him on something else like the Bellica, like the Gadget if it's not banned, and see what he can get done with it.
Or maybe just get it out of there. Like, at the same time, we're talking about this as well. You're potentially scorching your chances at the very first Omega PCC tournament to ashes. Your joy that Seismic was feeling leading the charge saying, all right, I'm going to show y'all a trick or two. No, you can't be playing with your food like that or it's going to make a meal out of you. You just got to hope that Seismic and the rest of their Primal posse are shaking that off and saying, okay, maybe we're getting a bit too loosey-goosey with it. We got to take this seriously. Sure, we're in the loser's bracket. It's not a grand finals match, but it very well could be your final appearance here on the big stage.
And there's a lot on the line for both of these. One game to decide whether or not you are etched into the history books of competitive predecessor when the story gets retold years down the line. I believe in all of the members of both of these teams. The carry potential is in the pocket of all 10 members with the level that we are at here. I just hope that they're able to get the drafts to a spot where they like it. And if the first two games have been any indication, this third game is one you're going to want to keep your seatbelt on for.
Absolutely. There's the most historic members in the scene of predecessor, all household names for the scene. So definitely one you do not want to miss. I'm looking to see how we can get some of those players like Naps back in the voices of the casters because he seemed to have fallen silent in that contest. So the draft, it's really going to come all down to that, D-Lo.
Naps took a bit of a nap himself. Hopefully he can wake up. Mythic, Mach 10, and Flow State. 3 spots already secured. 3 amazing teams that will battle for supremacy. What will the textbook say? Who will write their name and etch it in the blood of their enemies in predecessor history? We'll be finding out shortly. Don't you dare go anywhere. Final match here today, PCC, coming up after the break.
Get ready to unlock your true potential. Augments are coming to predecessor in update.
Hello everyone and welcome back to PCC NA Prelims Day 2. Losers Round 6, Game 3 to decide who will step up and fill that 4th final slot. It's D-Lo, it's Lance, it's HDPhillyB. It's 2 amazing teams in Primal and Immune battling their best to see who can take the rest.
And this is what it is all about. Today has been so entertaining. 3 full best of 3 series. I honestly just can't wait to find out what happens here.
I mean, some of the most entertaining predecessor I've seen in quite some time. It's so good to be back and have the competitive scene up and running for you all. Yeah, this draft, I think, is going to make or break the final moment, the final birth for either of these squads.
Well, then by all means, let's get right on into it. Diving headfirst into this draft, guys, it's been a story of the backline, and a bit of an interesting one, a bit of turbulence in terms of the shakeup from the story we saw before. A tale of 2 carries, not quite the case. This time, it was a bit silent in the mid on one side. That Iggy, we've talked about the fact that Seismic leads the team with a lot of force, a lot of confidence, but the pick maybe is not quite the best fit. Seraph, though, certainly fitting nice and solid as that first ban we see for Immune every single time.
It is business as usual. I think you're going to be seeing both sides banning that Seraph pretty regularly. Morn also going to be taken off the abducts, all of the different things that Morn can do. You just don't want to see it. Still respecting that Feng Mao as well. It is rinse and repeat in our bans early.
Yeah, a little bit of deja vu. Now it's about how do you prioritize your picks moving forward? Which player do we prioritize? Do we prioritize Seismic, get him on a comfort pick? Do we say, Neff, you've been playing the Sparrow every single game so far? Do we just keep you going with that, especially now that the ref mid's taken off the board? So I'm really interested to see how they prioritize the players' comfortability and what heroes as we move through the draft.
We're seeing essentially, like you mentioned, a bit of a run back here. Steel once again. Real Steel just going to be picked up real early every single time by Immune because, again, they feel confident. They say, we don't really need to change our Gideon all that much. The one thing we really tweaked was that Gideon. Success, results, easy profit. So now we're looking back. do we maybe need to pick up the Sparrow early? We talked about and we know the fact that Neff can't be outbanned or outpicked, but maybe just getting it to your side could be a welcome boon to get Naps a bit more awake.
And I could see that coming with the Revenant ban out of the Primal side as well. Not surprised to see the Kwang locked in. Sneaks has played it in every game. He's been playing it fairly well. And look at you, D'Lo. You're learning. You're a prophet. The Sparrow locked in for the side of Primal.
That is huge. Yeah, let's see what Naps can do with it. I don't see Naps usually on the Sparrow, but I mean, once again, a very technically skilled player, can do the Sparrow well, just haven't seen it recently. I like the pickup from the steal. I just want to go back to it because Team Immune, they are on a ping difference, so maybe some of those abilities a little bit easier to hit when you're on the steal as opposed to a Decker where you have to throw the stasis ball and people aren't framing away from you and things like that. So could be part of their strategy moving forward. Now they have the next 2 picks. Do they prioritize that mid lane once again? Do they try to go for the carry? This time the Zarus will be. We see Morose has used that constantly in the off lane. That's probably going for them. And then finally, there it is. ManQ is able to get the gadget online.
First time we get to see that grace the battlefield. That has got to feel amazing. It's not going to be that Gideon Scorch match we've seen several times, but Gideon might certainly be their turn. Given the fact that it was so potent, a few times where we saw a Black Hole just absolutely dominate team fight, that's instantly where we started to see Immune swinging their punches. But for your money, Lance, do you want to see the Gideon return, or is it going to be something maybe a bit different, a new flavor added to the mix?
Listen, with Seismic, I don't want to take it off the table because of his ability to pilot Gideon as a hero. But I am telling you, Gideon not a great pick into Gadget. I've got 600 games played on that hero. I have probably got 300 of them, look at this, with a Zarus on my team as well. The Wombo combo out of Immune early in this draft is intense. I'm not surprised to see the Gideon because it is Seismic specifically, but that's a tough lane.
Very tough lane. I mean, Gadget has a lot of great push, especially depending on what augment, right? If you go for the Sticky Mine augment, that really increases the explosion radius. You can clear waves a little bit better. Gideon usually need to get to the level 6, maybe an item or 2 online to really do a flash clear, move forward. But we're seeing the tried and true microwave combination here from Team Immune, and also a dive comp on top of that, which is perfect counter to the Sparrow. Sparrow wants to be hidden in the backline, just probably be shifty, be a little nimble. But if you just full send everybody on top, especially with this beef you got going on, take Naps out early with no mobility, and there's your damage gone. So it's going to be a full-on dive. It's just what other characters can you follow up to support that?
There's a lot of intrigue in linking this game back to Game 1. Countess being banned away, since we know that's what brought a lot of success to Primal in that Game 1 where they took it before. Zinx is going to be the pickup for the support. Does add a lot more reliability in terms of the heals, and of course that Rev. If you're able to make Gideon dead, guess what? Coming right back at you, sucker.
Another part of that as well is you have to now kill Naps twice on that Sparrow. A lot of the times that's going to be happening by finding him out of position, so that second life can't always get as much value as you would from that first one. But on the extended tail ends of those team fights, that neuroregenesis coming out of the Zinx can be very clutch. Zihi also an absolute menace on the cat.
Yeah, and it's a good counter dive character, right? If somebody jumps at you, you throw in the ricochet, it can bounce a little bit, especially if you get the augment that decreases the cooldown, extended the bounce ricochet, for lack of a better term, but then the neuroregenesis, right? If they do get dived on, you can put that out. We have our final 2 picks. It will be the Twin Blast. I like the Twin Blast, heavy pressure in lane, good poke, but the ultimate for me always seems a little bit lackluster, even if you do have the Primordial Blaze online. So we'll see what Neft, one of the best carries in the entire world, can do with it. And once again, the Richter, do we see it in the jungle once more?
I would not be surprised given the fact that it was winning, but of course, Richter on ping, we've seen it multiple times where that hook sometimes doesn't land, and having it on a mobile rotation, those flaws will start to show a bit more. Severog, now that's a bit of paprika thrown into the recipe. We have not seen this guy nary all match.
That is exactly what I wanted to see Primal lock in here. As I am looking at this, I am seeing that Team Immune starts incredibly slow. Gadget, terrible in the early game. I don't care what you say, she is terrible in the early game. Same with Twin Blast. It takes them a while to go online, and the damage burst from Team Immune is very, very short. So they need somebody that can suck up some of that damage, kind of scale with them into that later game. They already have that Sparrow who's going to be very potent in the late game. Picking that Severog as well up is going to be able to match that scaling damage from Team Immune. I think Primal put on almost a masterclass in this draft.
I agree. Another counter dive character. If you dive onto the backline, the Grave Breaker, the extra home run hit, and the Colossal Blow can knock the Coliseum out, can force people away, right? If you're the hook target, maybe you take the bullet for the president. You dive in and you Phantom Rush out. So a lot of great uses for this Sevarog, not just his tank ability to absorb the damage, but also to keep your backline safe. So yes, I think that's a great last pick to really find that final puzzle piece to put this draft together.
We're seeing some classic staples and a bit of new elements being mixed in, but it's the same two amazing teams, the same great 10 players. Guys, I won't give a word limit to you this time. Who takes the entire series and why?
Hey, I might be a better wrestler than Seismic, but he is 5 times the predecessor player that I am. I think there's no way Primal doesn't win this game.
Man, I like the Wombo combo, the microwave composition from Team Immune. I gotta stick with the EU boys. That's been the storyline all day. Come on, TI, you got this.
Legacy on the line here, folks, as we battle for top 4 placement. What will the history textbooks say when they read your chapter? Will you be cemented as a legend or just a footnote on the back page? We've got Ego and Tang here to find out.
Gamers, welcome in. We got another banger of a Game 3 today. Some excellent predecessor play, obviously. It's your boy Ego rocking with you today alongside the man, the myth, and the legend, Tang. Are you ready for some games?
Oh, yeah, I mean, last game of the day, and it's going to be an important one. Team Immune against Primal. This one, the first 2 games were bangers in their own.
Thank you, Ego and Tang, everyone on the mics. It's D'Lo, Lance, and PCCPhillyB right back. And it's our friends on EU saying, get the hell out of our bracket. What are you even doing here? Are you lost? Primal escort our friends on Team Immune right out the door and into next week where they belong. PCCPhillyB shaking his head, but me and Lance saying, USA, USA, USA. We don't need F6's flag to get patriotic here. Guys, break it down. What we just see.
I mean, we saw what I was hoping to see out of a team at Primal. You get Seismic onto somebody that can move around the map, that can be a playmaker for your team, start those engages. And although we saw a lot of shield walls coming out of Penguin to block a lot of the inner fires coming out of Naps, the rest of the team fight was just there for Primal. They were able to execute, stick to their game plan, and it felt like Team Immune was really struggling to get to the backline of Team Primal.
Absolutely. Morose was supposed to be their dive, right? Go on in with the Coliseum, have everybody follow up. But as we talked about in the draft, there was so much counter engage. So the Colossal Blow, the Neurogenesis, the Ricochets, whatever. So a few times that, like right here in this replay, he tries to go for it, immediately hit out of it, and then they try to follow up, but everybody's already dead. And then the Neurogenesis comes through as well. Then it got to a point where Mav was so tanky. They were able to play a 2-3 formation in some of those tight channels, and any engage was on the tanks, and they didn't even care. They were just being tickled by any of the damage coming through. Nothing that they could do at that point.
It just overall was such a brilliant back and forth between these two teams. You never really knew until the very end. And this one was a lot more tense, right? Started off with no bloodshed, all focused on objectives plays. And we talked about in the green where we were saying with bated breath, everyone understands the stakes here. We all know that one mistake could cost you. Unfortunately, one mistake too many was made from Team Immune. Let Primal take the reins and take that last top 4 spot. Now, guys, we've gotten to be very well acquainted with Primal over their run through the bracket and over this 3-game set. If you are an opponent slated to step up to Seismic and the rest of his crew, what's your word of advice, your word of caution to not end up the same way as Neft and their boys?
Play to your strengths, I guess. You can't play the game of Primal. If you end up trying to slip into it, try to match strengths in the mid lane, Seismic's going to outplay your mid laner. Naps or Cold, it doesn't matter who's in the duo lane for them. It looks like he's able to facilitate with both of them very, very comfortably. Mav on a flurry of different playstyles within that as well. Stick to your gun, stick to what got you here, because Primal will have one of the longer paths if they do hope to make it back and into that grand final spot with a date against Flow State.
I think make sneaks uncomfy would be my kind of tagline here, because they was constantly Quang for this whole set. It's like,
That's
okay,
true.
bang the Quang, do something, or play like Import and Nibulua do, where they just kind of vertically jungle and they facilitate the off lane side and then go for Prime rather, and then push in the tower, etc. So maybe you have to make him uncomfy, go for ganks early, force out blinks, things of that nature. But there's going to be plenty of time for those VOD reviews in the next couple weeks.
Bang the Quang, honestly, I completely agree with the fact that if you're comfortable on a pick, you got to make sure to kind of knock them off their pedestal. We saw Neft play 2 games of Sparrow, you shot the bird out of the sky, plucked it up, and used it to your own devices, and Naps made it look oh so good. And now our friends on Immune taking the long sleep as they gotta wait a few more days until their bracket chance comes back up with the EU prelims. But as far as NA prelims day 2 speaking, that is all we are gonna have for you here today on PCC NA prelims day 2 here on the Omega official stream. I've been D'Lo, joined here my friends Lance and HDPhillyB on the desk. We've had our friend Choice Plays, the man behind the curtain, our almighty eye in the sky, running the entire thing. Please make sure to thank him, our amazing observers in terms of Bengal Mac, as well as D-Dog, and all our mods and all the other amazing vocal talent behind the mic that you saw. It takes a village to put these productions together, so please in the chat, make sure to give your appreciation to those behind and in front of the camera. It means a lot. And last, but certainly not least, thank you, loyal, obedient viewer, for your time. We hope you've enjoyed these series just as much as we have. Keep an eye to the sky for more PCC content coming at you next week.